Hey guys, today is the day, my full review of the 2018 Ninja 1000. Stick around. Oh boy, do I like this bike. The 2018 Ninja 1000 is incredible. It is everything the Ninja 650 is and more. I really like it, love the power, love the 4-cylinder, love the sound. For comparison's sake, I'm going to put up some basic stats of the Ninja 1000 compared to the Ninja 650. And then we're going to go out, have a look around the bike, and I'm going to take you for a little ride and give you my thoughts. One thing I keep forgetting to mention though is the all LED headlamps on the Ninja 1000. This was something they brought in new in 2017. The 2017, 2018 are virtually identical other than colors. But the LED headlamps are really awesome. They both are on all the time. When you put your high beams on, they get bright. So kudos to Kawasaki on that one. But before we get into all of that, I want to just give you a quick look around at my beautiful new Ninja 1000. Roll it. Hey guys, so we're going to start the review off with a walk around the bike so we can see some of the external differences between the Ninja 1000 and my old bike, the Ninja 650. Basically, all of the Ninja lineup now, up to and including the Ninja 400, all follow this basic body style. The front nose cone, or the front fairing, is really aggressive, and the lights are basically the same. We walk around and we see basically the same shape to the bike. Some huge differences though are the kind of massive exhaust that they have on the back of this thing, which I'll get to a little bit later. They have redesigned the pillion a little bit, and my wife will tell you that the comfort and seating position are much better on this bike over the 650. One of the things they did was they raised up this center portion right here so the rider doesn't slide forward as bad. On the 650, this was a real problem, and when I was riding, I would slide forward because the seat was very slippery, and my wife would slide forward, and it could be a real mess in a situation where you had to stop really fast. This is not the stock windscreen, but one note, the 650's windscreen was adjustable, but you had to pull all these screws out, you had to make manual adjustments. It was kind of a real pain in the butt. On this bike, right down in here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, there's this little button right here, and when you push that button, the windscreen just moves. It's got 3 positions, and it is super easy to adjust your windscreen. On the 1000, the fuel tank is 5 gallons. I believe on the Ninja 650 it's 4.5 gallons. I don't know that translates into any more mileage. Basically, all of the Ninjas that I've seen get about 200 miles on a tank of fuel. I'm getting anywhere from 35 to 45 miles per gallon on this bike, just depending on what kind of riding I'm doing. So when I drove it back from the dealership, that was about an hour and a half of riding. I was getting 45, 46 miles per gallon on the interstate, going about 70 miles an hour all the way. Swinging around to the back, this tire on the Ninja 1000 is pretty massive. This is a 190 tire. I've heard people are going to a higher profile. This is a 190/50. People are going to a 190/55, and they're saying that that corrects some of the suspension issues or front handling issues that the Ninja 1000 had. Let's get to this exhaust. The exhaust is, you know, I think it looks okay on this bike. It is definitely sounds all right, but the boy, the cans on this thing just get in the road of everything. If you look down here, I don't know, right here is where you would plug in like your stand mounts, and the problem with this is these cans are really close to your swing arm, and when this bike flexes, these cans move up and down, and if you've got spools sitting out of here, you're very likely to run into those and damage the exhaust or worse. So you got to be real careful. Personally, I think it's kind of a poor design on Kawasaki's part. This is something I will change in the near future. They just don't work. The other problem with these is they come up right here, right where your foot rests, and so I've got, you know, big clown feet, so my foot sticks back quite a ways, and the back of my foot is resting right on this shield here, and so you pick up heat. It doesn't scratch it, you know, it's got rubber soles, but it puts marks on this, and so I'm constantly having to wipe those off. The huge advantage of the 650, hopefully you can hear me, the mic had fallen down, over the 650 is ease of adjusting your preloads on the rear and front springs. Literally, if my wife wants to go 2-up riding with me, I just have to make a couple turns of this knob and I'm good to go. It's real easy, almost makes it worth it right there just for this adjustment. On the 650, you have to basically take part of the fairing off to get at the spring, and you have to use spanner wrenches to change the preload. So not convenient, not something you're gonna really think about it before you go in and make that adjustment, because it's kind of a pain in the butt. This, it's a turn of a knob and you're done. It's also notable that the front spring preload and dampening can be adjusted very easily. They've got adjustments right here. I find that the stock preload adjustment is quite comfortable. I doubt I'll be messing with that very much, and like I said, I don't intend to take it to the track or anything. So another kind of pain in the butt that has happened 3 times to me already. When this kickstand is up, you have basically this space right here to flip the kickstand down. And what happens is, if you watch my last video, it's real easy to pop this out of neutral into first gear when you put your foot here. Normally, you would put your foot right here to kick the stand down, and that's, you know, don't have to look, and it's very natural to do that. Well, this big old exhaust is in the road, so I don't know, kind of a design problem to me. So not a deal breaker, but you have to be careful. They have this little pin that sticks up right about here, and that pin is what I use to flip the kickstand down now, and you have to be very careful that you don't pop this into gear, which I did in my last video. I did it on the day I test rode it, and it if you're not paying attention, it will scare the crap out of you, and you can theoretically toss yourself off the bike, because when that thing lunges forward, when you hit it into gear, it will shake you around a little bit. I guess the most significant difference between the 650 and the 1000 is the engine. This is a 4-cylinder engine. It's a 1043cc motor, and it has immense amounts of power. This engine is obviously pretty bulletproof. They've used this engine since at least 2010, and I think it's a carryover from the old ZX line. But it is really good. It is really powerful, very smooth. I can't say enough about it. The other major addition under the hood is the IMU and their ABS system. So this inertial monitoring system that they have that carries over directly from the ZX10RR is supposed to measure your pitch, roll, yaw, and inject that data into the ABS system, the ECU, and make adjustments when you're using the traction control and power modes to help keep the bike rideable, keep the bike on the ground when you're cornering, braking and cornering, and these kinds of things. So huge safety upgrade for the Ninja 1000 over the 650. As you know, the 650 does not have any of this stuff. It does have ABS, which I think is really great, but Kawasaki has stepped up their game, and they have brought a technology to this bike that really should make it much safer to ride. Basically, the cockpit, the instrument cluster are virtually identical to the Ninja 650. It is almost exactly the same. Notable changes though, or notable additions, is you'll see right here is the power mode. It's in full power. Traction control mode. It's got an outside temperature reading, which I kind of keep on all the time because I like to know what the temperature is, and I don't really care I know what my range is already, and I'm not really keeping track of that. But they employ the same really hard to push buttons on the left that I don't like very much, but the tach and gear indicator and speedometer are all basically the same. The odometer is basically the same. It is physically the same layout as the 650, and I believe they're using this across their entire line. Anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out on the road now. We'll talk a little bit more about things I like and dislike about this bike, but that's a basic walk around the Ninja 1000. More to come.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be giving you my review of the Ninja 1000. The 2018 Ninja 1000 with ABS. Right away I want to say it is, in terms of riding position, it is virtually the same as the Ninja 650. It's very comfortable. I would say the ride is a little more plush. It definitely handles bumps a little better. I think the Ninja 650 is a little bumpier ride, not as refined. One of the big things on this bike is you can adjust the preload, adjust the dampening, so a lot of opportunity to kind of customize the feel. I haven't changed it from its stock configuration, but it's nice to know that you can do that. You really can't do much on the Ninja 650. You can adjust the rear spring preload, but you got to kind of take it apart to do that, and that was never going to happen for me. The instrument panel is identical to the 650, so no lost love there. It is Has a couple extra features which I covered when we did the walk around, so not much to say about that. The mirrors are set further apart, and that makes it easier for me to see anyway. I'm not having to look left and right to get at the mirrors. And so from a safety perspective, you know, I think motorcycle mirrors, I've said this in the last review, motorcycle mirrors are kind of crappy anyway, but these ones are actually pretty good. Having that extra couple inches side to side makes a huge difference in what I can see from the center of the bike. So good on Kawasaki for that. The weight of this bike wet is, I don't know the exact weight. I'll try to pop it up on screen. But I think it's around 525 pounds wet. The Ninja 650 is like, when I took off the stock exhaust, I think I got it down to around 410, 412 pounds. So significantly heavier than the Ninja 650. But I will say that, you know, being able to go side to side is really no big deal. It flicks around pretty decently. I think when I first got the bike, I really felt that weight a lot more. Now that I've been riding it a couple weeks, it doesn't feel that heavy to me anymore. So, you know, I'm not sure. I think if you buy this bike, your initial impression is going to be that it's a heavy bike. But after getting used to it a little bit, I do not, ouch, this is gonna hurt. I don't find it to be that heavy at all, and I find it to be fairly maneuverable. I haven't got myself into any sticky situations yet, but I feel confident on the bike. Speaking of confidence, with the Ninja 1000 you get a whole host of new safety features, including the IMU that comes directly from the ZX10 series. I think a lot of future bikes are going to have this kind of technology because it just makes sense, but I'm really happy to see it in the Ninja 1000. I wish they would apply this tech down the line. I mean, it would make sense to me to put this kind of technology on, say, a Ninja 400 or a Ninja 650, because these are starter bikes. These are bikes that people starting out are absolutely going to buy. The exhaust note on this bike is fair. It's not something I'm overly concerned about. It is pretty deep, especially at low RPMs. It's my understanding that when you get up over 6,000 RPMs, which I haven't done a whole lot of, it does have a pretty good scream to it. Yeah, it definitely winds out pretty good. I don't know if it'll come across with all the wind noise, but when you really get on it, it does make quite a little scream. So, things that are important to me about this bike, things that helped contribute to my decision to buy this bike. You know, as I've said time and time again, I really wanted the sound and the power of the 4-cylinder. There's just nothing like it, and I really enjoy that sound. It's part of the appeal for me. And the bonus is, you know, this great riding position. So I really feel like this is a good mix of super sport power, sport bike, or sport touring riding position. You can ride this bike all day long. It is going to be just fine for you. It does have like an economy mode. Like, puts this little icon on the screen when you're not jamming through the gears to let you know you're riding at peak efficiency. I think it's kind of gimmicky, but it's there. The fit and finish of this bike is just to a higher standard. I think you just got better parts in general, it feels a little bit more solid than the 650. Not that the 650 was bad, but it definitely feels like you're getting closer toward premium components when you're riding this bike. You know, Kawasaki does such a good job with these bikes. I really still do not feel compelled to make any major changes to the bike, other than, you know, you're going to make some of those minor cosmetic changes, putting new windscreen on, which I've already done. You might put some slip-ons on it. You might, you know, whatever. I just don't think there's a whole lot to do with this bike. It just looks beautiful. I mean, Kawasaki in this design, they have really nailed it. I mean, and that's evident by the fact that they continue to use this design. Starting with their H2 to the ZX series, the 6 and the 10, the Ninja 400 employs the same design. The Ninja 650 and the Ninja 1000 all basically have the same fairing. There are certainly minor differences, but they basically all look kind of similar now. The Ninja 1000 is not a bike that's hard to control. It's easy to ride. Every time I get on it, it gets easier and easier to ride. It's got amazing power, so for those of you who want to just, you know, light it up and go 160 miles an hour down the interstate, you can definitely do that. And but for just riding around town, it's got you know, very easy throttle response at lower RPMs. I mean, I'm only going to, what, 29 miles an hour in third gear right now, and absolutely easy to control. It's not jerking around. It's no worse, in my opinion, than the 650 in those terms. So, great commuter bike. It does produce a lot more, well, not a lot more, but it does produce more heat than the 650 or in smaller bikes. You know, you've got a 4-cylinder engine down there. I would expect there to be a little more heat coming off the engine, especially because it's very difficult to not get on it from time to time. But anyway, guys, getting back to the point, if you're considering a new bike, I think this is a winner. I think Kawasaki over the last couple of years has really hit it out of the park with this design. They're comfortable, they're powerful, all across their range. It is it's a good lineup for Kawasaki, and I hope they stick with this design for the next several years, because it's going to make the aftermarket market that much better. There's going to be a lot of parts available and things that you can customize these bikes with. So I don't know, guys, it's a winner to me. I love this bike. It's everything I wanted. It is effectively my dream bike. At this point, I've got all the things I've wanted in a motorcycle, and I expect to ride this for a very long time. So if you guys have any questions about this bike that I didn't cover in this probably excessively long video, please ask in the comments down below or send me a message. If you found this useful, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and consider subscribing to the channel. It'd really help me to grow. But anyway, as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.